Welcome to Running Head, the channel where you can learn anything from building a canvas stretcher to building a website. In this video, I'm going to be sharing some tips and tricks for choosing and using sketchbooks.
So, why keep sketchbooks?
You might just enjoy the creative activity of keeping a sketchbook, sticking things in it, filling it with all sorts of random drawings and questionable poetry, testing out new mediums, that sort of thing. Your sketchbook is an arena of judgment-free, private, personal expression. Sometimes your more successful sketches are more appealing than the finished piece. When that happens, think carefully about what your book is trying to teach you there. And of course, a sketchbook allows you to distill your vague, unstructured thoughts so you can refine your ideas quickly. Looking back through your sketchbooks can remind you of important discoveries and provide you with solutions to current creative problems, inspiration, or just a good laugh. The number one reason for keeping a sketchbook is that it will make you better. Whatever your art, keeping a sketchbook and regularly filling its pages will help you improve like nothing else. Just commit to filling a page or two of your sketchbook every day, and when it's filled, compare the early pages with the later pages. You'll see a significant improvement over time. It's good to draw every day, of course, but the kind of free, unstructured, regular drawing practice that keeping a sketchbook encourages will do so much towards improving not just your drawing skills, but also your general creativity.
Getting the right book.
Spend some time thinking about what sort of book you need. There are many opinions as to who makes the best books. Some books are trendy, some are time-tested and popular, some are designed specifically to appeal to discerning customers who are seeking
the perfect sketchbook.
But consider the basics. A tiny book is most convenient to carry around, which will encourage you to take it with you and use it. But you may find it also encourages tight, cramped work. A larger book may help free your hand and mind, but is less convenient to carry. It's always going to be a very personal choice. What works for others will not necessarily work for you. I hope this video helps you avoid some of the potential pitfalls and find your ideal sketchbook.
What kind of paper?
You may not be planning to scan pages from your book, but at some point you'll probably find you need to do just that. There are several reasons why it's advisable to scan your work, and even now high-res photography hasn't replaced scanning. You may want to share your work with others. Back up the book to ensure against loss, damage and fading, or to make use of optical character recognition. So it's best to buy a book that allows every page to be pressed very flat against the scanner glass, without stressing the spine of the book. I used to use and recommend the De La Rowney Simply Range 100 GSM, the hardbound, extra white A6 sketchbooks. Sure, they tended to fray along the corners and maybe down the spine, but as long as this kind of damage wasn't too serious, it could be easily remedied with book tape. These days though, I like nothing better than the cheap, 100% recycled craft sketchbooks from Hobbycraft. They're currently £1 each and they meet all of my criteria. They're robust, thin and flexible, and if you lose one, you've not lost a year's work because there's only enough pages to last a month or two at most. Avoid spiral bound books. If the spiral binding gets squashed, they're pretty much useless. Ideally, your book's paper should be stark, pure white rather than reassuringly cream, so that in scanning and reproduction, you won't lose even the faintest pencil lines. The paper should also have just the kind of roughness or tooth that you prefer. Too smooth a paper may make erasing mistakes more difficult and encourage overly detailed sketching. Too rough and more delicate line work breaks apart. Thin paper is lighter, but it can't take much paint before falling apart. And what's drawn on the reverse of thin paper will show through when a page is scanned. Of course, too thick a paper, and you'll be out of pages before you know it. Find what's best for you. I'd recommend pure white, 100 GSM, with a medium tooth myself. If you really want to travel light, you might try making your own sketchbook out of loose sheets of layout paper. Layout paper is great stuff. Professional artists get through pad after pad of it because it allows you to see through one page to the page underneath. You can rework your line art again and again as you perfect a drawing by a process of repetition and amendment. I have a sheaf of layout pages that I keep in this lovely folio I bought in Florence many years ago.
First things first.
Once you've made your choice, bought a new book, there are a few things you'll need to do immediately before you begin using it. Write your name and address, as well as a reliable phone number and email address, clearly in the inside of the front cover, not on a page. Below this, add a promise of a reward for its return. But don't specify what the reward might be unless you're extremely wealthy. You're not done yet though. Also add, on the inside of the back cover or back pocket, the details of when and where you got the book, the manufacturer, how much it cost you and so on. That way, if it turns out you really like it, you'll be able to find another one. The loose cuttings and clutter that builds up over the lifetime of the book will eventually become an irritation. So if your book doesn't come with one, deal with the clutter in advance by adding a pocket to the inside back cover. This can be a card insert fixed to the inside of the back cover, or an envelope of the right size simply taped in. When adding clippings to the storage pocket, you can always refer to it on the relevant page of your book, like a citation, pointing to the stored clippings. Always use a good thin bookmark and never use your pencil as a bookmark. This could break the spine. Consider fixing a ribbon bookmark into the book if it doesn't already come with one. Having your pages turned and blown about in the breeze while you work is annoying, so consider also fixing a length of attractive elastic to the book to restrain the pages and hold the book closed when it's not in use. A simple elastic band could work just as well. Some people choose to trash their new books as soon as they get them, messing up the pages with paint, random scribbles, etc., as a way of minimising the intimidating effect of the blank, starkly fresh new pages. Another very good way to avoid the scary new book syndrome is to simply start working a few pages in, rather than on the first page. You can always return and fill in the empty pages later on. Number the pages of your books as you go. If you number the whole book as soon as you get it, not only will you face a tedious chore, which isn't a great way to start, but also, should you remove a page at any time in the future, your numbering will be all over the place. So numbering a few pages ahead of your latest page, as and when you feel like it, is a very good policy. Number them as follows: left pages at the top left corner of the page, right pages at the top right corner. That way your hand won't smudge and fade the numbering as you work. Keep the numbers small but legible. Consider using a Prismacolor blue colour raised pencil to do it. It just looks really cool. The keeping of books is such a rich, rewarding and essential lifelong aspect of creative professional practice that you'll find the ability to refer by number to other books and their pages from within your present book soon becomes invaluable.
2 books?
Some people keep 2 books, even more, at the same time. Usually this is a personal book and a public book. A person's private book might operate a bit like a diary. It might be full of personal notes, material unsuitable for publishing, nude self-portraits. It might contain embarrassingly wacky ideas, NDA project work, and so on. Their public book will be the book they show, the book they share freely with friends, family, and employers. It'll still be rough and unpretentious. Never forget that a sketchbook is a workshop. It's supposed to be messy, to be a place where you can make mistakes free from judgment, both your own and that of others. In your book, you should record whatever grabs your attention as noteworthy. You should play and experiment, test colours and hammer out concepts. Good creatives produce a lot of crap before they get good, as the saying goes, you fall again and again in rehearsal, so you don't fall on stage. Just keep trying. After all, if you don't want to show it to people, you don't have to. People will generally understand if you say no. Don't forget, it's a workshop, not a masterpiece.
Love your book.
You should get into the habit of carrying your book everywhere with you, always, because you never know when you'll get an idle minute, see something inspiring, or have a brilliant idea. Draw in pubs, cafes, in the laundrette, wherever. Your book might get worn and damaged, but damage can usually be repaired, so don't worry too much about that. Now, you might feel shy about drawing in public, but don't worry, in time you'll get over it. Draw people, objects, machines, landscapes, everything. You'll need it all, whatever you end up doing. Not only will you improve technically, but you'll also never lose a great idea because you forgot it by the time you got home. You can also use it for your imaginative work. Just keep drawing. It's your brilliant ideas and time spent in practice that are the most precious thing, not the actual pages of the book. Of course, there's no point being reckless. So to ensure against loss, get into the habit of scanning in the most recent pages every so often.
Repairs and customization.
Buy some nice book spine repair tape, some you really like the look of. I use Lineco's. It's neat, reliable, and it comes in handy if you choose to customize your book. Some people find customizing their books helps make them feel more personal. If you want to make good art in your book, it helps if you enjoy the look and feel of it in your hand, whether you choose to show it to anyone or not. That's all for now. I hope you've learned something of use. If you have, why not give this video a thumbs up to help share it with others, and subscribe to my channel for more. I'll be covering a range of artistic and technical subjects, both natural and digital media, as well as a few occasional wildcard topics like cybersecurity, web design, or marketing. Happy sketching!